Kizamde! Hop on the beat!
Welcome back to another JoJo chapter review. This time we're taking a look at chapter 17 of the JoJOLands titled That Girl's Bag's Groove Part 2. Last time we followed the gang as they tried to fight the tiny disease-causing stand Bag's Groove, and were introduced to our first proper antagonists of the part, the two agents of Howler tracking them. This month we open with a scene of a new character inside a private jet. They sample different flavors of Japanese broth as the man explains where they come from and how expensive they are. We learn that this new character is AKA Howler, the founder of the Howler Company. He lands in Honolulu and meets a group of bank employees who inform him that his land has been seized by the local government. They say that this will end up exposing his illegal activities and request to collect a loan of $38 billion they had given him before in an attempt to acquire his land. Confused, he calls for Bobby Jean and suspects that the lava rock is being used. He says that this is similar to an event which happened when he was a child, when there was a change in the flow of money. Finally, we see a brief glimpse of his stand on the ground, which itself resembles the lava tubes. We go back to Bobby Jean and the user of Bag's Groove, who we learn is named Lulu. They find the van the gang was using, but are only able to see altered security footage created by the Mate Kudasai. Lulu says that it doesn't matter who the people are or what they look like, but they have to find out what their objective is. Bobby Jean points out that their actual job that they're being paid to do is to eliminate them. Lulu sees a flower hair ornament in the car which belonged to Dragona. She asks Bobby to buy her one and has a tantrum where she scratches up the car. They figure out that they must be going to the hospital to find the stand inside of them and head there to find an MRI machine. The gang reach an MRI lab and take a quick look at the machines. Their plan is to use the Mate Kudasai to create a copy of the machines that will function the same way. Bobby Jean and Lulu arrive and she spots the flowers on Dragona's hair, realizing that they're the targets. Lulu gets a call from Akka telling her that the target may have a lava rock in their possession and that she is to retrieve it without telling Bobby Jean. She signals the group to Bobby and he activates his own stand ability, Glory Days, which is also named after a Bruce Springsteen song. He fires at the group with a silenced pistol, but when they turn around from the noise, nothing is there. Then they notice bullets that seem to be moving slowly through the air. They are unable to react and the chapter ends with all four of them being riddled with gunshots. This was another very interesting chapter. I'm quite surprised that we got another chapter like this since I assumed we'd be moving into the stand battle this month. In particular, I'm shocked that we already got introduced to a new character, and someone who is even a possible candidate for main villain in this part. While we obviously can't say that for sure yet, Akka is definitely going to be a very important character, and at this point is our main antagonist for the current story arc. Something I've always liked is the way that Araki introduces characters, and he pulled that off once again here with a hilarious entrance for such an ultra-wealthy character. Despite being clearly corrupted by wealth at this point, I do think Akka is going to turn out to be a sympathetic character. He speaks about a change in the flow of money that happened when he was a child, and the banking executives make a remark about his seemingly poor background. So I suspect that we're going to get a look at his backstory as a child in poverty to let us understand his perspective. One thing I'm most interested in is how he came across the mechanism that he used to get rich in the first place. He definitely seems to know about the lava rock since he specifically tells Lulu to look for one, so it seems that he also got that power from the lava tubes. However, I'm not sure if he truly understands the full scope of the power, since otherwise he would have had a lot more control over access to it. The brief glimpse we got of Akka's stand is also very interesting to me. For one, it has a very obvious Hawaiian volcano theme to it, so that really ties him into the setting. The main thing of note are the holes on the stand's back, which resemble not only the lava tubes which the rocks originate from, but also notably the walleyes of Part 8. The end of JoJoLion established that the main source of power in these stories are the blessings from the earth, which took the form of the walleyes and the devil's palms. So I think Akka's story is going to be deeply connected to learning more about the equivalent location for this part, which is likely going to be the origin of the stand abilities of all this part's characters. This chapter also called attention to Akka traveling to Japan, so it's also possible that we'll see some Part 8 connections appear through him. I also do have to point out that Akka's design is quite similar to Gyro Zeppeli from Part 7, although at this time I'm not expecting him to be related in any way. For the rest of the chapter, we mostly got some really good comedic moments like Lulu's outburst and Usagi acting delirious. The other thing to talk about this month is also the ending, with the introduction of Bobby Jean's stand ability. At this point in time, I really just have no idea what's going on here. At the very least, he seems to be able to manipulate the speed of his bullets. There's this really strange interaction where he apparently fired a ton of bullets and the gang reacted to the sound, but Bobby Jean and Lulu had already disappeared. The bullets themselves seem to be moving very slowly, but despite this, the gang still gets hit. So perhaps he controls their speed and they were going slow to build up momentum before being quickly released. Moving into the next chapter, I wonder how the gang is meant to respond here. Perhaps the slow-moving bullets are doing less damage compared to a normal bullet and they'll be able to recover quickly. Or it's also possible that a lot of them will be out of commission and Usagi might have to get up and fight. Like with most stand introductions, we can only wait and see for when we get more information. But so far, it's a really promising start to the fight, which will potentially have up to 7 different abilities going on at once. That's about everything I have to say this time. Next month, we're getting not only another chapter, but also the release of the 4th volume. If we get any interesting changes in it, I'll be sure to bring it up in the next review. If you want to be updated on new videos, make sure you subscribe and click the bell. You can also join the Hom and Beat Discord to learn about new uploads and chapter releases. Finally, I'd appreciate if you help support the channel on Patreon. There you can get Discord perks and submit patron questions. I answer questions at the end of my main videos, so leave one in the community chat on Patreon to be featured in a future video. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons. Thank you to Sloth Dog, Doorbell, Crayon, Rigovids, Zucato, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Almighty Quarth, Gatlin Grove, Lime Jinjo, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciano Rabaja, Rayana Meme, Christian McDonough, Emmanuel Etienne, Pulse Dog, Great Riek, Carmotrina, Zach Greenfield, FIFO, Rob Goliath, Jacob Smith, Big T, C Manga, Minty, Gold, Red Hot Mayonnaise, Jolene, Monticelli, Zenkai, Royal Slush, Chongo, and Keenan.